Good day, my name is Ali Mohammed, and this presentation is for GIS502 Geospatial Analysis. And this project is about the analysis of impacted sites in Saskatchewan. So in the project, data was obtained from the Saskatchewan GeoHub, the open government website, and data obtained was on environmentally impacted sites, which showed sites that were impacted by chemical spills. We also used water bodies, which showed areas that were water bodies and wildlife areas protected by the Wildlife Habitats Protection Act. Spatial and attribute queries were done on data to look at the impacted water bodies and the environmentally sensitive areas, as well as 500 meters around the environmentally protected lands. Doing the query, select by location, we can see that there are many, well, of the 2,200 sites that were impacted between January 2015 to February 2024, 43 of these sites were water bodies, and these are distributed throughout the extent of the province. Unfortunately, the data obtained shows the impacts as point features and does not give a polygon showing the area or the extent of the area contaminated. So there are many contaminants impacting water bodies. We can see here lead, crude oil, aluminum, even gasoline. One site was contaminated with as much as 10,500 cubic meters of methane, while another site was contaminated by 7,700 cubic meters of wastewater. Details of what this wastewater was was not included in data. From the information available, it is difficult to say what kind of impact this would have had on the environment. So the largest contributor of the impacts were fixed facilities. This contributed to 42% of the impacts, and then this was followed by transportation, which contributed to 18.6% of the releases. Doing a select by location query again, we see that there were 8 environmentally impacted sites throughout Saskatchewan. These sites were impacted mostly by hydrocarbon type material, crude oil, hydraulic oil, gasoline, and methane. We see methane and crude oil were the 2 largest releases to the environment at 11,174 cubic meters of methane and 38 cubic meters of oil. So these types of materials can have severe impacts in the environment and can be difficult to recover depending on the components of the hydrocarbon and if they get into the groundwater. Looking more closely at the environment just outside the environmentally sensitive area, we see that there are several or a lot of impacted sites that could be potentially impacting these sensitive areas. So increasing the areas that we're looking at around the environmentally sensitive area, a buffer was created of 500 meters to do this. And so when this was done, we see that we go from 8 impacted sites to 35. So this increases the potential to impact the environmentally sensitive area. And there are a wide variety. So we have a wider variety of chemicals that could be impacted these sites, and these include air emissions from burning landfills, aluminum outpours, ammonium nitrate, bentonite sludges, crude oil, hydrocarbons, gasoline, a lot of different contaminants now that could be impacting on these sites. So I tried to look at a trend of the impacted sites across Saskatchewan, but at that level, there were no discernible trends. Drilling down into the region into Regina, we can see that again there are no significant trends. There are a few points that show an uptrend. So it would be worthwhile investigating smaller regions to determine how this impacts the trend analysis. And as you look at this data, you see there are clusters taking around fixed facilities. So maybe the data or the trend analysis could be done on regions just around these fixed facilities to see what kind of how this impacts the trend analysis. In conclusion, we have many impacted sites across Saskatchewan, approximately 2,200 from January 2015 to February 2024. And these include a wide range of pollutants from crude oil, hydrocarbons, sewage, sulfuric acids, and even uranium. From this data set, we see there were 43 impacted water bodies, and these were impacted by pesticides, hydrocarbons, sewage, metals, and a number of different of the sites were environmentally protected areas. There were at least eight being affected, and by increasing the buffer to around or creating a buffer around these environmentally protected areas, we see that there's a large potential for further impacting these sites. So next steps, well, the data could be better organized to do some different analyses. There are issues with the units used for the amount of materials being released into the environment, and these had to be converted to a common unit. But we could also use, data could have also had categories of types of materials to help with making this would have helped to make a better analysis. And we could determine trends for impacted sites from this data by drilling down further into smaller regions, and from this kind of information could also look at developing a risk assessment model to predict the likelihood of future spills. So this brings me to the end of the presentation. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, you can contact me at the email.